So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this great session on reimagining work with robotic process automation. This comes to you with Team Computers along with our strategic partner, Automation Anywhere. So at Team Computers, we believe in Ikigai, a reason of being. It's the Japanese proverb for a long and happy life. And our reason of being is digital transformation for our customers. So what you see is the set the tone for this session today, where we will take you and walk you through a quick snapshot and introduction about ourselves, about Team Computers, post which the most awaited panel discussion that we have lined up. We have some industry experts and leaders who will talk about RPA and automation and how it has been helping a lot of organizations globally in their digital transformation journey. Post which I have along with me my pre-sales and solution architect who will walk us through a couple of live use cases that we've deployed at various organizations, including here at Team Computers. And after that, if time permits, we will definitely get into a Q&A session, which I'm sure you'll be excited about because a basic question and understanding about the attendees so that the panelists here can also understand what kind of mixed bunch do we have here. So Sanam, if I can request you to please bring up the poll question and we can get evaluating the technology, planning or experimenting, doing a pilot, scaling up the RPA setup, or you haven't become that journey yet. So let's see what the attendees here are piece of and part of and thinking about. Sanam, give me a go ahead once we have closed on the poll.
Sure, we'll give 60 seconds and we'll stop the polling.
Quite an interesting number going there. A lot of you are evaluating the technology as I see, which I think, and thanks to the panel here, I think you will be really be glad about their thoughts and hearing their thoughts about it. So I think majority of us here are evaluating the technology or are in that experimenting mode where they are exploring RPA. There you go. That's the winner, evaluating the technology. So good to know that most of us here are on that piece where evaluating. Good to know. So quick introduction here to the leadership team of Team Computers. We are, of course, this entire business is headed by our loved MD and CEO, Mr. Ranjan Chopra, who is an avid leader and has been servicing for the past 34 years with love. He is not just a technology evangelist, but also um, a very passionate musician, a passionate farmer, and a mentor to all of us and global industry leaders. You also see Jatin Sani here, who is the director of Team Digital Engineering. That's where we come in the whole setup of Team Computers. Alongside that, leaders like Harpal Baweja, who leads managed services, and Tejas Bagaria, and the rest of the folks. Interestingly, you have Prasenjit Mukherjee and Amulya Shah, who you see on screen, are part of the panel today and will be helping us and in sharing their wisdom and knowledge and thoughts on RPA. Prasenjit is the CMO for Team Computers, and Amulya Shah, our dear, he's the head of human resources at Team Computers and an avid user of RPA, I must say. So there's a quick snapshot for you about Team Computers. It says 33 years of service, and I had mentioned 34 years because this June week will finish 34 years of inception, and that gives us a lot of pride and a lot of joyous moments for all of us here at Team. So with our presence felt in 750 plus locations today, we are a growing company with 1400 plus crores of turnover recently. And alongside that, we are serving customers in all the different segments that you talk of. So be it enterprise, be it mid-market businesses, or even government and PSUs, Team Computers is ensuring that digital transformation partner is Team at all locations. We are a strong team of 3,000 plus members, and we deal with everything. So we ensure that we become a one-stop shop for each and every organization or a customer that we attend to. So for not just its hardware, we also look at hardwares, we look at managed services, we look at solutions and softwares. So the customer does not really have to go beyond looking at anyone else apart from Team Computers. A little snapshot about our customers along different verticals. So you'll see big names here like SBI, ESPN, the likes of American Express from BFSI segment, or a Maruti from an automotive, or even an Amazon from the digital native segment. Team Computer is adding value in all these business segments. So we ensure that, as I said, we become a one-stop shop and we serve well. Now, I understand everyone is excited to hear our panel speak on the RPA and how it helps. And before I actually hand it over to Mr. Prasenjit Mukherjee, I would just like to set a little tone for this session. So in a few short years, software robots in the enterprise have gone from a novel idea to one that most leading companies consider essential to their ongoing success. RPA enables companies to automate routine tasks using software robots that emulate humans, so employees spend less time on manual work and more time on activities that leverage their valuable and unique human skills. The result? Greater job satisfaction for workers and significant business impact for the organization. Now, according to a recent IDC research, 4 out of every 5 executives indicate that primary benefits of RPA include fewer or zero errors, reducing time rework, faster speed of response and process flexibility, ability for employees to make better and more consistent decisions. A fully automated enterprise is a digitally transformed enterprise. In other words, automation helps companies digitally transform. And those that embrace automation across the organization and scale includes employees to see the efforts that results better. Such an organization is called a fully automated enterprise. This is a company that is more efficient, more resilient, and outperform its peers. Such a company, both customers and employees. While a traditional enterprise takes a top-down approach to automation, a fully automated enterprise involves everyone in the organization in its automation efforts. So a fully automated enterprise will typically assign automable tasks to robots who would do the mundane repetitive tasks, provide a bot to every person to augment work and embrace the workforce, democratize development by providing a low-code, no-code platform, and unleash AI at all levels to spot automation opportunity and build smarter bots. Now, with this, let me introduce you to Pastor Prasenjit Mukherjee, CIO and CMO of Team Computers. Over to you, sir.
Hey, Renish, good afternoon. Good afternoon and a warm welcome. As already communicated by Renish, as myself, Prasenjit Mukherjee, welcoming you to this focused and interesting roundtable powered by Automation Anywhere and Team Computers. Now, I have a sincere request to all the panelists here. Like we have been through this particular phase of COVID since last 1.5 to 2 years, and hardly we have met each other. So these are the platforms where we can see each other. So I will request if you can switch on your camera so that I can see the smiling faces on the other side. So nice of you. Yeah, Mr. Mittal, I will request you too, if possible. Great. So since past 1 year, we all have traveled through our journey of ups and downs, both in our professional and personal space. Okay. This pandemic has actually triggered us to think and plan differently. Business and IT leaders have actually started reimagining and re-strategizing their IT roadmap, their business aligned goals, technology goals. Okay, so projects which had their visibility after 3 to 4 years suddenly became the talk of all corporate meeting rooms, boardrooms. Organizations started looking into new business rules, industry maturity curves, started bringing in digital technologies and global delivery models. And this led into an organizational transformation. So this transformation, or the concept of this organizational transformation, which we actually call as digital transformation for organizations. And when we talk about organizations, we have people within. So unless the people who are working inside the organization, they actually start adopting these new age technologies, the new age processes, okay, this won't be a success. So hence today's topic of discussion is reimagine work with robotic process automation, which is definitely an area towards digital transformation for any organization now, if you speak. So as business strategists and business aligned IT decision maker, it is a key responsibility of all of us to keep our businesses running in different kind of environment. There will be challenges coming, there will be ups and downs. These kind of pandemics might come in future also in a different shape, different form, but in different environment, different challenging situation, it is our responsibility to take the business to a greater scale than ever before. That's how we think, okay, how we reimagine, how do we re-strategize. Hence, to eliminate tactical band-aids and costly disruption, organizations need to focus on a long-term intelligent automation strategy. Because at the end of the day, we need to grow. We need to have the larger market share, whatever business we are into. So we need to think of those long-term intelligent automation strategy. In the race to outpace digital transformation, RPA or robotic process automation is often heralded as a quick and easy way to streamline the critical processes. When we talk about no touch, lesser people involvement, okay, how do we ensure? But we want more of our business to be more agile, more cost effective, more cost optimized. Okay, so in this session, we will explore how leaders are rethinking their automation strategy and combining robotic process automation, intelligent document processing, artificial intelligence, machine learning to automate complex business processes to a greater degree and bringing a positive impact to their business. So today, we have with us three esteemed enterprise leaders, Mr. Manoj Jagani, who is head of RPA and platforms in Sony India Software Center. So, Mr. Jagani, you have around 2 decades of experience as a seasoned leader who championed digital transformation and established RPA within Sony. And you have worked on innovative IP solutions and supported on filing a couple of patents. Have led key global projects on technology and transition for Japan, Asia Pacific, European Union, and America. You have been awarded the Information System Innovation Forum, which is ISIF, awarded by Sony CIO for 2 consecutive years in a row. Other than IT, you also have an experience in various domains like marketing, sales, operations. So you have a cross-functional expertise, okay, and definitely now into digital transformation and automation program in Sony. Welcome, Mr. Jagani. Next, we have Mr. Nirmal Shah. Mr. Nirmal Shah, who is Director of Finance. Mr. Nirmal Shah is Director of Finance for Geting Medical India. Geting, am I pronouncing it right, Mr. Shah? It is Geting A, Geting.
It's getting.
Getting.
Getting gay.
Getting a Medical India. Okay, thanks. So, Mr. Shah, you are a certified chartered accountant with more than 18 years of post-graduation experience, currently heading Getinge Medical, and you have driven process simplification and automation projects in the past domains like pharma, healthcare, research space, and have contributed to top organizations like Abbott, which is again a pharma company, Solvay, Thermo Fisher, to name a few. Okay, and these process automation, re-engineering, these are also very, very close to my heart, which I've been doing. So I love when I saw your profile, Mr. Shah. Welcome, Mr. Shah. Third, we have Mr. Vartul Mittal, who is a technology leader. So Mr. Mittal is a technology and innovation specialist and a seasoned digital transformation and automation leader. You have been honored with the following eminent awards in digital business transformation and artificial intelligence. You are one of the top 40 under 40 data scientists in 2021 by Analytics India magazine. You have been conferred the BFSI Excellence Award 2020 by CXO Multi-Cloud Summit and Awards, a Special Achievement Award in Artificial Intelligence at the first AICRA, All India Council for Robotics and Automation It's a global summit and awards in the year 2019, to name a few. You have more than 14 years of strong global business transformation experience in management consulting and with global capability centers with a remit to drive understanding and deliver business operations and technology strategy solutions globally. Last but not the least, welcome. You are a notable keynote speaker on robotics process automation. I was just going through your profile on LinkedIn. Excellent. So AI and innovation among leading international conferences and premier universities. So that was Mr. Vartul Mittal. And further, we have Mr. Amulya Shah, who is a Chief HR Officer or CHRO from Team Computers, and who has been our internal customer. And from him, we shall hear our customer success story. So welcome you all again. So let's now move to the panel discussion part. So I will first come to Mr. Jagani. Mr. Jagani, one of the core pillars of digital transformation today is automation. We all agree. And you were one of the early adopters of this journey. So from what we understand, you currently have deployed automation in various different business functions in Sony. Now, what made you decide and initiate your automation journey? We would love to hear from you, Mr. Jagani.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Prasanjeet. So first of all, welcome everyone. Welcome to this forum. Hopefully we'll be able to provide the valuable insights which you are seeking. Starting with the word journey, I think you use the word journey. I usually call this as learning because it never ends. Though you are an early adopter or you start now, you will always have some of the other learning. With a company like us, we have always been pioneer in trying to work more on the innovation area and find out what are the innovative ways. We start back from the semiconductors to now we are having the autonomous cars. So ranging between new technologies and trying to make the existing technologies more valuable for the users or consumers. This is what our clear motto has been. And that is why in Sony, we also have digital transformation capability, which actually takes care of the digital transformation within Sony to make sure that all the areas which we are targeting, whether, as you know, Sony has a widespread capabilities. It is into the entertainment business as well as it is into the electronics. So in entertainment, we have pictures, music, PlayStation, which you would be already knowing. In electronics also, you would know from the consumer products, which are your TV, mobile phones, etc. But then we have professional cameras as well, which are used for high-end match live telecast of the matches. For example, when you go and see football matches or cricket matches, those cameras are actually by Sony. And beyond that, we have enterprise solutions as well within Sony, other than many other areas. So we are there in almost each and every area. So now that brings us a kind of when you're on a dinner table, you have a widespread variety of things to actually look into. So that actually brings us into an area where we have a lot of things to be touched. And there are a lot of things which are either mundane or repetitive. And in these two areas where you actually look into whether it has things which are SOP driven, which is like your standard procedures that you want to do X, Y, Z. And then there are things which are slightly tweaked based on your requirement and may not suit for all. So we also were looking into how we actually go ahead and have something which is more like a low code or no code platform, so that all our members within our group can get trained or can actually utilize it without having to spend more time into bringing or creating capability. And that is why our journey, or rather our learning, started. So we first went ahead with the evaluating tool way back in 2016. And at that time, to be honest, RPA summits were hardly there. We used to hardly hear about RPA and all. It was a new word which had come up, and there were hardly few companies which were actually working on the RPA area. So we started exploring, started reaching out to those companies, started exploring tools by doing hands-on that, how they are, whether they would be fruitful. After evaluating, we started working internally that, how we propose this tool to the different segments, because one shoe size may not fit all. Based on that, we started working on planning, then development, then implementations. Post-implementation is the main phase where you actually gather the insights once you have implemented and start working on those insights. And we started working on the insights where we gathered information on whether it was useful, how much efforts did we say, what we actually want to do further, and how we actually going to proceed. So your further planning or your further development depends on those insights, which are very important once you have the implementation done. And that's what we always say, that once you have normal implementation done, then you think of the intelligent automation, because that's where you will try to cater to whatever insights or whatever automation you have already done in your organization. And based on that, you will bring in some tweaking, some methodology which will actually help you into moving one step ahead. Beyond that, like I always say that one shoe size may not fit all, one technique may not be apt for everything. So you will have to keep on tweaking your techniques, and also may look beyond the tools, might require something in-house. You might have to build something in-house, or you might have to take some consulting, or sometimes you might have to look into utilizing the capability of the tool itself. Some tools give you that automation capability, so you don't have to go for an external tool or any other tool. With that, you will set up your governance. With that, you will set up your security, and then you create the overall environment around automation. So in our journey, we understood that we had to be agile in order to make sure we utilize the capability of automation. Also, we always, it's a motto within our companies that you try, but you fail fast. If you fail fast, you can actually learn from whatever your failures and then move ahead. That is why they say that it is not when you are actually trying, you don't fail, you learn. Either you win or you learn. So we actually took the learnings, and wherever there were winnings, we did not take it over. We started working on even magnifying that winnings towards the different business segments. So that's how we actually started. And currently, if you really ask me, we are at a phase where our intelligent automation or the AI systems are quite mature, and we are able to utilize that within larger landscape than what we started at a lower landscape or lower, or a smaller scale. Yeah. So that has given us a lot of opportunity to think beyond the automation, or think how digital transformation can not only be secured within the automation area, but then the other boundaries on creating the environment or the infrastructure around it. So if I really put it in one word, is would be that count it as your learning, not as your journey, and there's no time late to start.
So I think being an early adopter, one flip side is that you might fail, okay, and the other side is you can actually foresee. Means early adopters definitely have a long-sightedness, far-sightedness. They can foresee that after 2-3 years, this is what the market will change to, and what should be the customers, what kind of experience the customer would look like, ask for. Okay, so I think that's excellent, and organization like Sony definitely with a technology background, okay, they will be early adopters, and they will think that how soon and better solutions can be offered to the customers. It may be internal or for the external customers. Anyway, thanks a ton. I will come back to you after some time. Okay. So, sure. Mr. Jagani, now let me move to Mr. Nirmal Shah. Mr. Shah, what aspects of automation or RPA, in general gets you excited? Okay, with your experience, with whatever you have done. So, which aspects of automation or RPA it generally gets you excited? Okay, you can throw some light on this.
Sure. Thanks, Prasenjit. I think, Prasenjit, you and Mr. Jagani have clearly highlighted that the world is changing. The way the things are done are completely different. If an organization has to be number one or gain market share, it has to be fast in taking decisions.
Absolutely.
To be really honest, I am not an RPA expert, but I have been in the industry. I have been in the corporate world. I have tasted it, and I have been beneficiary to an extent through these automation drives. And let me tell you, in the earlier days, maybe 5 years before today, we used to depend a lot on people, on their data gathering, their analysis, and the decision making was done after all these processes were followed.
In fact, Mr. Shah, I will tell you what you exactly said. You're not from the IT background, but the function where you are in, I think that is a function in each and every industry vertical that is first looked into for bringing in automation. If you look into it, okay, the early adapter means the early automation or the application which came was on financial accounting. Okay, if you see, absolutely. Okay, it is started. So that is the department where the first automation actually gets implemented. And it's the same for RP also. Please, Mr. Shah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I am in a function where there can be a automation in every activity that we do,
yes.
actually speaking. And then you know how what excites, I'll tell you honestly, today if I see a lot of Power BI and a lot of tools which give beautiful dashboards and in real time having
Streaming
an
data.
interface.
Hmm.
Yeah, streaming data and having
Yeah.
an interface with your current ERP, SAP.
Yeah.
The decision making at a leadership level, or the things as an corporate, where are we going right, where are we going wrong, what should we do more to grow faster. I think all that is definitely adding a lot of value. I'm really excited to get faster results. That's what helping. One more thing I might like to highlight, the benefits that we are getting today is that earlier days people used to spend days and nights to do all this analysis, and end of the day the employees, the people who are working on it were not so happy. The biggest difference that I see is the value, the time that they spend is much more on analytics strategy rather than data crunching. So that's a big change I am seeing, and we'll see much more as we go ahead. I'm really excited to absorb more and more and take more and more on this aspect.
Yep. Great. I think you are bang on. This is how automation or the digital transformation we say is helping the mundane task or the repetitive task of doing some kind of a data crunching or calculation, okay, which doesn't actually require some rocket science. Okay, so that can be taken care by the automation layer, wherein the actual human force, their brains can be put into the strategy part, okay, and to take the fast decision based on those kind of insights what you get from the automation layer. Great. Right, Mr. Shah will again come back to you after some time. Yep. Now, let me move to Mr. Vartul Mittal. Mr. Mittal, being a tech leader and someone who has been a part of a lot of digital transformation journey, okay, you're an avid speaker also. So how do you think organizations today can accelerate transformation through automation or RPA? Want to hear from you, your insights, being in this area of tech leadership.
Thanks, Prasanjit, for asking me this question and inviting me to this thought leadership event.
Yep.
See, I'll probably thanks for the introduction as well, and I'll give a brief to everyone who's the part of the panel and who's listening to us from the audience. I did my first RPA deployment in 2012. Okay, that was through RPA platform, not Automation Anywhere, but some other platform. And that too for a large bank based out of Manchester and London. And that was when India was moving towards RPA, and probably I was exposed to this technology much earlier because I was part of IBM UK and I was exposed to it. Now, having said this, my journey has been on multiple platforms since my early days of IBM, and I have seen automation platforms also moving to different latest versions. Like we have platforms which have now moved towards cloud, and they are not having bots only on-prem. So that is one example I am quoting. Secondly, when we look at the COVID-19 pandemic, which has brought the entire business continuity as a challenge, or survival related challenges, that has actually plagued the legacy business models, which rely heavily on manual processes. Now, when we look at several new use cases for RPA, and which have been uncovered across industries, not only healthcare or life sciences, but for the matter, banking has been the early mover on automation, probably 10 years back. But now other industries like manufacturing or healthcare or pharma have also joined the bandwagon. And all these RPA vendors have come up with multiple technology integrations with various cloud providers. So having said this, the way I look at how RPA is going to help, see, RPA is itself just a piece of the larger puzzle, which we call hyper-automation, where RPA has, if you look at any of the platforms, nobody claims themselves as an RPA platform. That has been a history, right? So all the platforms call themselves hyper-automation platforms, where they assemble multiple components, starting from RPA to AI capability, to workforce engagement capability, to advanced analytics, and last but not the least, process discovery tools, which have been launched by multiple RPA platforms. Because the amount, earlier these components were seen separately, but today if you talk to any platform, these components are geared together, and without them, the entire use case automation is very, very difficult. You can only automate a use case in pieces, in parts, but we look at an end-to-end use case, whether it's a order to cash, procure to pay, FP&A, R2R, whatever use case you picking up, which is applicable as an horizontal use case across industries. So today, RPA has taken a new version where the bots are on cloud and process discovery tools plus AI-enabled capabilities. For example, Automation Anywhere has got a IQ bot, one of the technology where they have been early mover in terms of providing a healthy AI capability infused by OCR, ML, computer vision. So this is just an example, and I'm sure you are aware about it. So I see that the adoption level will go very high, because earlier enterprises were using it, these RPA platforms, to test the waters, but now they want to go deeper, scale up the enterprise-wide deployments and beyond geographies. So earlier it was deployed only into the manual processes which are offshore, but now I see a lot of traction happening onshore, high cost geographies as well, for Americas and Europe. So I see a good traction, and with the army on ground of these players, where they have very strong professional services themselves to initiate the automation journey for any client, and then it moves to the likes of managed service providers or different GSIs. So the play is very, very huge, and this is my take on that. I'll take a pause.
Okay. Great, Neni. Absolutely. In fact, with your experience where you are already implementing from the year 2012, I think these insights are will be helping us and also the people who are attending this particular session. Okay, great. I will come back to you again, Mr. Mittal. Okay.
Sure.
Now, let me now move to Mr. Amulya Shah. Okay, I said that Mr. Amulya Shah is the CHRO of Team Computers. He is an accomplished HR professional who has consistently created policies, systems, processes, and driven organization-wide strategic initiatives for rapid and sustainable business growth. Mr. Shah has traits which includes high energy and passion. Being a HR leader, he has to be authenticity and the highest level of integrity, which has won him many accolades while creating best HR terms across different organizations. He has been a star-rated professional working more than 2 decades across geography in India, Asia Pacific, Australia, Middle East, and his experience covers the breadth of employee HR lifecycle process, ranging from hiring, onboarding, performance management, total rewards, communication, learning, development, employee engagement, diversity, and change management. So, as because we ourselves have implemented RPA within Team Computers, and Mr. Amulya Shah is our customer. So we would love to hear from Amulya about like you are a new age HR leader and have deployed automation in HR functions in Team Computers. Now with business growing and increasing in the organization's headcount, compliance of all sorts, maybe government or internal, becomes very, very important. Now, has automation helped you, and how this kind of automation have helped you when you are actually you have to be complied to the government or internal compliance? Okay, and also the headcounts are increasing. How do you ensure all these things? So I would love to have as a customer success story from you, Amulya.
Thank you, Prasanji. Good afternoon. As we call it Team Computer COVID Namaskar, and thank you around 60-70 people who joined in. So as you know, I am from HR. So panel who are setting up this call, they told me to be brief. So I promise I'll be as brief as possible, no matter how long does it take. Just kidding. So as you know, one thing that has kept us sane and going and saved human lives has been technology in this pandemic times, right? And as all the leaders of the big business houses across the globe, they have said digital transformation and embracing new technology is the only way forward. Without digital transformation and without embracing technology in whatever we do, whether it is HR or finance or admin or any other support functions, that's the only way how we go. And as Ranjan says that what we preach, we must practice. So I was the one beneficiary inside the organization where RPA actually helped us to look at some of the compliances that we have to look at from the organizational perspective as well as from the customer standpoint. So we got together with the RPA team and identified two areas. One, of course, was the labor compliance. As you know, it's very important and sacrosanct to be compliant 100% from our regulatory and laws of the land. That helps keep the liabilities at bay for the organization and also for our clients whom we are providing services, right? So we also looked at how we could take the compliance reporting, which is needed, whether it is internal or for the client for whom we are serving, and make it a use case to RPA. And believe you me, we were able to reduce errors to 0%. So 100% reduction in errors and 95% reduction in turnaround time. We had one full-time lady who was an MBA and also an LLB, actually looking at all the reporting that we are doing for the clients. So some of the reports that we used through RPA was register of wages. So I think I saw Pallavi's question. She was asking, can we have some use cases? So Pallavi, I'm giving you 2-3 instances from HR where we have used RPA and which has been very, very successful, bringing down the errors and bringing down the TAT and also bringing the SLA compliance to 100% and saving huge man hours, close to 1,500 man hours through this RPA activity. The first was register of wages, where the bot extracts the data from the audit and attendance sheet. So right now we have two sources of truth for the HR data. One is our HRMS and the other one is ERP. So it's not integrated. We just implemented Darwinbox some months back, and we have our Navision, which is the ERP. So the person used to take the data from ERP as well as the HRMS and then do some manual editing, creating those musters in different formats before sending it to our customers. So that got automated through RPA, and we save almost like close to 900 hours because of that. So the second requirement, statutory requirement from our customers was on the wage slips that they have to show it to the government bodies. So there also the output is getting converted into a PDF format through RPA. While it was taking around 45 minutes to 1 hour to sometimes 2 hours, depending on how many people for whom wage slips were used to be generated, it takes 10 to 15 minutes when you give the input and the RPA runs at the back and changes the format into XLS or docs or PDF file. And an email is also triggered to our customers that this is the compliance sheet that you require, and we get an acknowledgement as well. So that we do for Asian Paints, Maruti, and Viacom and ITC, which saves us around 100 and close to 120 hours. The third use case where we have applied RPA, Sanjeet, is attendance and register for workman. So these are all compulsory data that is required as a compliance. So here we have multiple areas from where we have to give the employee name, location, designation, clock in, clock out, present, absent, whether he was in LWP or it was EL, CL. So all this were being done manually. And now because of the efforts or the trained robots that we have, the labor compliance bot that we have, it takes 3 to 4 minutes to actually download all this in the formats, because all the states have different formats. So it just converts that in 2 different formats and in a PDF form or whatever XLS that you require. And email gets triggered to the link on OneDrive, which goes to our customers. And this we have been doing for our customers like DHLF, TV Today, Maruti, Viacom, CNH. And we save around 650 hours because of this intervention. Same is true for PF and SIC bot, where we have to get the compliance report for the government. And here we save around 120 hours. And the second use case that we were benefited with was the candidate sourcing. So there's a lot of hiring which happens in our organization. And we have seen all our talent acquisition person going through each one of the CV profiles and seeing whether it is matching or not matching. So we have got the bot trained, and we just key in the keywords or skills, and the bot captures the data and the profiles, and they get the data in an Excel format in terms of whether it is matching, not matching, name, their email IDs, and their mobile numbers. And then our team gets in touch with them, does the preliminary chat. So this reduces their efforts to quite a significant amount. So these are some of the areas which we have deployed in Team Computers, and HR has been benefited a lot, and our clients are happy because of the compliances and SLAs and the TAT that we are giving to them. That's it, Prasanna.
Yeah, thanks, Amulya. In fact, it is very, very clear that bringing in RPA, bringing in automation, bringing in bots, two major components. One is the compliance, where if you don't comply in time, there are a huge penalty from the regulatory bodies. Okay, so this is where we have. And second is definitely the man hours saved. Okay, and anything saved, it may be in the form of hours, time, lines, or whatever. There is a cost component in that. So great. I think the team within Team Computers, which is the RPA team, okay, they have done a wonderful job of implementing it within, and this is what we have been doing for our other customers also. Thanks, Amulya. Yeah, thanks. So now I will come to you, Mr. Shah. I will come, Mr. Nirmal Shah. I will come back to you here. Okay. Now, do you think process automation can help organizations during the current crisis management? Okay, and if yes, what part of your finance function would be your go-to? As I said that, and you also have mentioned that your finance functions always looks for some kind of automation, some kind of new applications brought in. So during this current crisis management, what part of your finance function would be your go-to, and any specific process within your function where you think it is already there in your roadmap, or you people are already planning, and like reconciliation of vendor payments or bank statement. So we want to hear from you as finance person. Okay, so what kind of automation? Am I clear with my question?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Prasanna. I think there is no second thought and no doubt that process automation definitely helps an organization. I would say not only in crisis management, but otherwise also as a part of the growth strategy. And again, being a finance person, I can give you examples where it doesn't only help in growing the top line, that's the sales or the revenue, but in a lot of processes, it does also help to maximize the profits as well. And I can share you real life examples where at least I have tasted a little bit of success, and the organization on overall has been benefited. So let me give you an example on the top line. In my previous organizations, we used to do a revenue stream mapping, and a lot of our instruments were specific for an industry. For example, we had some of our instruments which are used specifically for pharma, some were for steel, some were for cement. Using automation and using the Power BI tools, what we did is we prepared the pharma dashboards and the steel dashboards, where we used to map that when did a pharma customer or a cement customer last purchase, what instrument did they purchase, and we used to generate business leads for our sales and marketing teams. In addition to that, we also in that tool or the dashboard, we used to have what are the latest announcements, what are the latest results of the customer. So which means any sales or marketing person going to a field through a click of a button can come to know what was the potential instrument that can be sold, when was it last sold, how many years, what's the expansion plan for the customer, what are the announcement, what are their results, and in which geography do they have their manufacturing setup or a plant. So that by this tool, we used to generate a revenue stream or a revenue lead for our entire sales and marketing team. So that's one example on the top line. On the OpEx side, now 3 years, 4 years back, we had our teams taking a data dump in an unstructured manner from SAP and doing a hell lot of manual work, which used to take 5 to 8 hours a month by each individual across all divisions. What we did is we did a small automation, writing macros using Power BI and all those stuff. And again, I'm not talking about high-end RPA. This is a small automation in-house. I'll tell you the results. It was a click of a button. In 5 minutes, we got desired result, and it was so awesome. I'll tell you, more than the productivity, obviously that's there, the feel-good factor of the team, the time they could spend on analysis more than data crunching. I think that led to a lot of motivation, and efficiency.
True.
So these are classes.
It helps financially and from finance perspective and also from the HR perspective. Okay, a happy employee and a cost saving. Okay.
Absolutely. I'll just give a couple of high-level examples. Today, we track the price. For example, I am in industry. I want to know as a finance person, are the sales people selling at the right price? Are they having a price increase which can straight add to my margins and my bottom line? Where are we losing price on? Which instruments, which category of customers? Should we sell direct or should we go indirect through distributors? Those kind of decisions are also very easy and can be done through a click of a button using the RPA and automation tools. Since I am working in an MNC, we have a concept called integrated margin, that is India margins and the factory margins abroad.
Okay.
We have some tools where again on a 10th of a month we can come to know that any product sold in India, what's the margin that product has made not only in India but also at the factory in Europe or US, and we get the end-to-end integrated margin where decision making becomes easier. So these are some examples which we are already using, and I'm telling you, there's no end to it. Like you said, the vendor balances, the bank reconciliations, the inventory management and forecasting. I tell you, there are a lot of areas where RPA can be utilized.
And definitely when you are heading the finance function for your organization, so it is not only your own function. You will also look into other functions where you can actually optimize and what Amulya rightly said, that is the HR part where he has saved. I think hearing today, you will definitely go back and have a thought process where more automation can be brought in other functions also, in addition to your own function.
Absolutely.
Thanks Mr. Shah, thanks for these insights. I will come to Mr. Jagani. Mr. Jagani, how do you identify robotic process automation opportunities in your business, and how would you define the success of a RPA program? The second part of the question is something what I also want to hear from you. The first part is, how do you identify robotic process automation opportunities in your business? You have already said that you have multiple lines of business. It may be from the end user computing side or a consumer durable products. Many automation enterprise automation solutions. So how do you identify the robotic process automation opportunities in these businesses, number one? And number two, how would you define the success of a RPA program, which is most important? Mr. Jagani.
Yeah, I think this is quite a good question, and everybody who ever has attended today would be thinking about that. How do we start? And what are the benefits we are looking at? So I'll give you a kind of a success mantra, or possibly something which is learning from my side, and possibly if you can kind of match it, maybe not 100%, but 50 to 60%, that would be a success for this session today. So how you do it? So first you do promotion. You need to start working on promoting RPA within your organization. You need to showcase the benefits of RPA, and the benefits of RPA I'll talk about in the second question's answer. That what are the key benefits of RPA? Not only what we actually see, but then there are hidden benefits also. So promote, tell people what is RPA, what it does, what are the benefits. That would be your first stage. Once you have promoted, take feedback. I mean, you need to ask business or internal business teams that, what is your take on the automation? What do you feel about automation? Do you really think that this would benefit you, or do we need to somehow modify it, or do we need to do something where we are kind of making it happen? So we don't have to force RPA for them. We don't have to kind of push that, go ahead and do RPA. We have got this tool, we have got this automation. No, rather try to focus on what is their current business problem, what is their current day in, day out problem, or what is they are facing from their challenges perspective. This down and then prepare model for them. Like I said, one shoe size does not fit all. So you will have to keep on changing your strategy, but more or less your architecture would be 40 to 50% same for each and every person whom you reach out to. Then comes part is plan and do. So you will have to start working on what you are actually planning towards your smaller goals and longer goals. Smaller goals are basically your short wins. So you need to start slow, go for a short win, target something which is more like a easy to implement. That would be your first step, because unless you see something as an outcome, you will not be able to do anything. So try to see where you get the short win. See, there is an outcome, you show it that, this is the outcome. May not have good benefit, may not have huge ROI and all, but a short win will help you out. In short win, you can always, like I always give this example to anyone wherever I go and, give any sort of insights on RPA, is that as long as you're able to write these steps of what you want to do and give it to a person who does not know about anything, and the person can read and perform those steps, that is the perfect candidate for RPA. So if you're able to do that, person is able to follow what you have written, that, okay, just like you give someone an instruction that go to this place. So you say that, first take, get down, go straight, take second right, go to third cross, then you will find a yellow building, take that. And if a person is able to follow it, it means that that is a process of RPA. That is the perfect RPA candidate. Go for it, go for a short win. If you get that done, if you have, let's say, your process and everything done, and then you are able to see the short wins, then go for long term, because you will have short term and long term plan both. What happens after that? You have got short wins, you have got longer plans, and now you're working on your overall strategy. Then comes your culture creation. You need to create RPA culture inside your company. You need to start working on training people. It should not be like, everything should be done by me or by my team. No, you should enable them. That's the place where they will have more confidence towards doing the business with you. You enable them, you give them opportunity, create internal RPA university and start training people around it. Start giving internal certifications, start giving them internal problems and let them solve it. So that's where you create a culture of RPA within an organization. Once this is set, you will be good to go with your RPA journey. Coming back to your second question, which is more like from the benefits perspective. Now that completely depends on how you're gathering insights. Like I said in my first answer when I was giving about how we started. For us, the difficult, or rather say most important stage was gathering the insights once we have implemented. So that your how you proceed further depends on how you're gathering the insights. So you should have your future state design, which is basically your long-term plan, that how you're going to be aligning, and the steps which I said should be matching into it. Then you look for the ROI. Now ROI, like Amulya also shared that it could be more from the you will save good amount of dollars, and then you will have quality improvement also, of course. And then many people talk about effort saving, that you will save a lot of efforts because you would have automated. But then there are many other hidden ROIs also, which we promote internally. One of them is that beyond your compliance improvement and all, your quality improves. You have very less error because the robot will do what it is asked to. So that is the biggest ROI, because you will not have to do repetitive work. Most of the time, your time goes into correcting your errors. Here, you would save that time. On top of it, it will be rather more standardized. So now you have standardized processes, standardized environment. You will further gain based on your compliance improvement, which I think Amulya already shared. You would have more people working on the value add work, or people would be more focused on doing something which is brain can do than only hands and legs. So they will get a robot as like a personal assistant, you can call it, or an enabler. So robot will do one type of work, and then you will have human who will be doing another type of work. Then you can save a lot of internal cash outs, because between businesses to businesses and IT to business, you will have a lot of internal cash out. So you'll save a lot of those efforts by having those things implemented. Beyond that, it is easy to expand. So you can really utilize the flexibility of RPA. More and more work coming in, more and more RPA bots getting added, and your work gets, work is scalable at any point. But with that, okay, another point in the hidden ROI is your efficiency. So you have a lot of efficiency improvement, because robot would work faster than a normal work. So, and it works 24 hours, then the 8 hours a day, then 5 days a week. So you have 24/7 work. So if you really look from all these areas of the hidden ROIs, you need to explain them that, okay, these are the hidden ROIs, which you actually can get benefit out of it. What I believe, if I really have to sum it up, is that, your success of RPA would be considered when your company or your team members or your resources within company don't consider RPA as the replacement of human resources, rather than consider it as a value add. The moment they start considering it as a value add, the day you have this situation, you will have a success in RPA, and then everybody will happily implement it. That's why the process of culture creation, which I said in my first part, is very important. So you create that culture, the fear of RPA will go. Then it will become more an enabler than the replacer. So this is what I feel.
True. What exactly you said is it is a combination of how do you do a project management? How do you adapt the technology? How do you change the culture within an organization so that people start adopting it and start using it and try to feel that, yes, this is not a replacement of human man force, or rather it is bringing in a value to the organization. And personally speaking, I have gone through these kind of situations since last 20 years, where changing the culture or the mindset of the people, okay, wherein in a government bodies, when we try to bring in automation, okay, the government employees said that computer means unemployment. Okay, so from those mindset, you can change. And I think major of the automation or major large ERPs implementation fail because of this. Okay, because people they look into re-engineering their processes, but they don't look into the other side. How do they bring in a culture change within the organization? So in my beginning lines, I had already said that when you talk about digital transformation, it is not only bringing in a technology, not only bringing in some kind of a process change, but also making or people who are working within the organization to change and bring that change. Great, Mr. Jagani. Thanks for those insights. Okay, now I'll come to you, Mr. Mittal. Mr. Mittal, you have already spoken about hyper automation, which is the new buzzword in automation. Okay, so how it is different than the intelligent process automation? Okay, because RPA platforms are talking about AI-based assistance like AI from Automation Anywhere, which is quite similar to Siri of an Apple or Alexa of Amazon. And such digital work assistants are running day-to-day operations. Now, how do you feel that this hyper automation is different than the intelligent process automation, Mr. Mittal?
Sure, Prasanjit. So, first of all, these two terms are more or less, I'll say, synonym to each other. So, am I audible?
I think there was a break in your audio. Can you repeat?
So, Prasanjit, yeah. Okay, no issues. So, I'll say, first of all, both the terms, the intelligent process automation and hyper automation, are more or less the synonym to each other. And now there have been analysts like from the likes of Gartner, Everest, and Nelson Hall. There is another analyst who have started calling it hyper intelligent process automation. They call it HIPAA. The reason is because they consider it because whether you call it hyper automation or whether you call it intelligent process automation, it is now considered a combination of process mining, task mining, intelligent document processing, which has replaced the erstwhile OCR, then IBPM, workflow automation, and then moving ahead to the final lever of another lever of automation, which is the AI-driven automation. So this is a combination. And now I heard many of the fellow panelists speaking about the use cases, and probably it's with the positive time, I'll not go into the use cases, but I think that the key factor which will drive the hyper intelligent process automation would be the key three factors would be the operational impact, the cost impact, and the business impact. When we go with the operational impact, the major there are three main criteria. One is improving the operational efficiency and quality. Second would be increasing the employee productivity and experience. Third would be improving the process governance and compliance, which we covered in a few pieces from other panelists. So if you put them together, these are three key layers in the operational impact. Second is the cost impact, where we definitely talk about the cost savings. That is the core idea about deploying automation. And third is the business impact, where we talk about the enhanced customer experience and top line growth or revenue uptake, where we talk about how we disrupt the industry. So these three are the major factors which will drive the hyper automation adoption. And intelligent process automation is a term which Everest as an analyst uses in their IPA peak metrics. And hyper intelligent process automation is another term which is used by another analyst. So these are different ways of naming the technology, which is definitely hyper in nature. And how, when I say hyper, it covers the end-to-end integration of various components of automation platforms or levers. So this is how I look at that. Rest, more or less, just to add on, while you talk about various characteristics of these platforms, like you mentioned, RE from Automation Anywhere. So RE is definitely one of the latest offering from Automation Anywhere enterprise, and they are doing it very well in terms of positioning RE as a robotic interface, bringing a robot and a human together and bringing human in the loop. But that is a interface, a console that has been created, and definitely it has got its own features, which they combine with other applications like IQ bot or any other discovery bot, what they have in the entire stack. And these are the elements which are being replicated by many other similar platforms. So idea is most of these platforms have realized the importance of hyper automation and bringing various components which were missing in the erstwhile versions of these platforms. So your question is very valid, and it is now very much I'll say visible across all the automation platforms, and that is why even customers have realized the need of looking at their problem statements or use cases from the lens of hyper automation and not with the lens of only task mining, process mining, or limited RPA automation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. I think that answers my question. Okay, what I've asked. Okay. Now, to end this panel discussion, I have one last question, which I'm keeping it open. Okay, open to any one of the panelists who wants to answer me this. Now, in every thought shared by all of you, a constant thing which was coming was productivity improvement. Okay, how do you reduce cost and how do you improve the productivity for business purpose? Now, does it mean staff reduction, layoffs, or displaced workers because of RPA's digital workforce? Because a counter to that is that it allows people to do higher value tasks. Okay, so the repetitive task we keep for the automation side and the people for a higher value task. Would anyone from the panel want to take it up and share their views on it? That till the yeah, please.
Thanks, Sanjit. I'll just share my 2 cents, then others can pitch in. See, I think it's not about the staff layoff. It's majorly started with the cost avoidance, then moved to the capacity creation. And the whole idea behind this technology deployment was to do more with less. So we can absorb more work with the similar or the same baseline headcount, rather than growing the headcount and then not making everyone high on employee morale.
Yeah.
Or yeah, definitely that productivity leads to the employee morale, and that's why we see the attrition, which happens a lot in the BPO space, or which is the highest in the industry. And when we talk about the attrition happening in the BPO space or in the shared services, this has actually led to a lot of decrease or decline in the attrition percentages, because employees are feeling more fulfilling in terms of what they work upon.
Okay, great. Anyone else wants to share 2 lines on this from the panel?
I think Manoj has already spoken about how the maturity of an organization when we drive RPA takes this forward. Because if you have this thing in mind that your staff will be reduced or layoffs will happen, it becomes very, very difficult. And from an HR perspective, I think that it's more about unleashing the potential of human beings and taking them out from a non-value add repetitive work and putting them in more value added work. So, that if that is the focus and that is the drive for an organization to adopt RPA, I don't think we are talking about any layoffs or right sizing the organization to a point where we ask people to leave. But we are looking at enhancing the productivity, extracting the best out of a human being for which he has joined an organization, and driving cost wherever he can bring down cost because of this pandemic and the difficult situations organizations are in, right? And ensuring that we are more process driven than people driven.
Great. I think the panelists have actually given the right thought process for implementing or reimagining automation in their own workplace or in their own business area. And the last question is actually insight for all the attendees who are attending, that automation or bringing in technology like RPA won't actually look for or see layoffs. Rather, with the same headcount, we can do more. Okay, and we can actually use the human brain for more strategic value addition task rather than the repetitive mundane task. Okay, I think it was an excellent session. Okay, but I myself got many insights from leaders like you, and it was a learning session from me. As Mr. Jagani said, it's always learning. Okay, so today I have also learned, okay, from you all. So excellent. Thanks for joining this session. I will pass on to Rinesh to take it forward, but the panel discussion was excellent. Thank you very much. Thanks, Upton. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Prasenjit. That was indeed an excellent session. So, Mr. Jagani, definitely automation is not a journey, it's a learning. And Mr. Mittal, it's about getting more with less, right? So perfect, panelists. Thank you so much, Mr. Sath. Thank you so much for your insights. It was a brilliant session. Amulya, you are an avid user and a customer to RPA, and it was great to get your insights. There were a lot of questions coming up on HR use cases and finance use cases. Unfortunately, in the interest of time, we will not be covering our planned session on entire piece on the use cases. We actually wanted to walk you through with it. But what we'll do is we'll definitely get our teams to reach out to you individually. This goes out to all the attendees. We'll reach out to you. We'll definitely set up one-on-one sessions where we'll walk you through various use cases of RPA that are today organizations that they're adopting in finance, in HR, and IT, and all of that. And we look forward to that interaction. So just to wrap this up, just wanted to quickly cover this piece of it where we are the strategic partner to Automation Anywhere in India, and have a bunch of master level OEM certified resources and an in-house COE panel for RPA. And we also extend these services not just to internal customers at Team Computers, but organizations like yourself. And also we work very closely with the professional services of the OEM to provide such RPA implementation services. We recently were awarded with the Emerging Partner for Automation Anywhere in 2020, and definitely got a CRM Excellence Award as well in this technology. So with this, I conclude this session, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, panelists, for sharing your thoughts and insights on RPA. Thank you so much, attendees, for walking in and actually listening to these thoughts. We'll definitely, our teams will be in touch. We've made the note of all your questions, and we will definitely come back to you with a one-on-one session. So thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
nice day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Stay safe.